your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband. Tell me what's your name? Don't you play this game? You from another land, got you like it's contraband.
What's up, guys? Planet Uchiha here. Now, I was about to just do one video today, but I wanted to give you another new video, and this is going to be the officially origin story of us Uchihas. That's right, my subscribers, and also me, King Vegeta, not King Vegeta, King Kishan Uchiha, or you could say Galaxy God Kishan, in episode 1 of Planet Uchiha. Now, what is this going to be about? Well, this is going to be the origin story about us Uchihas and how we got our Galaxy Renegon, also Galaxy Sharingan, and me. And, of course, our queen, my wife, Madara Uchiha, the female version, of course. Now, how do we get this started? Well, we're just going to start. But anyways, let's go. So pretty much we start off with Kishan Uchiha, the planet that is created. Now, of course, Kishan Uchiha, creates the planet with boredom. Starts creating life and everything on it. And, of course, I land. And, of course, all the Uchihas looks at me and say, King. Or pretty much call me father. Or some call me king. Which I pretty much look at them and be like, y'all are all my loyal subjects. And this is y'all home. And we're not humans. We're aliens. Or you could say higher than that. Which pretty much one of y'all comes up to me and say, you are our king? Which pretty much I say yes. Which the other person says, then where's our queen? Which I begin to say, shit. And I pretty much creates a queen. And it's female Madara. Now this is where female Madara comes right behind me and pretty much says that she is the queen. And they should worship both of us as gods and goddesses. Which pretty much they all take a bow and they pretty much says all hell Kishan Uchiha and Queen Madara Uchiha. Which pretty much I smile. Now, this is where the color's eyes grow higher and stuff. It pretty much becomes the most powerful planet. More powerful than the Ususi. Why do I say the Ususi is much weaker than us? Because we don't eat fucking planets and make it dead. No. We protect planets. And also we flourish. Some of us Uchihas is at other planets that is also living there and also making unique children. While Planet Uchiha, or Planet K you could say, is pretty much owned by me. Now, this is where we're going to move on and pretty much go to the Naruto planet. Or you could say Earth, you could say, where Naruto and all the ninjas and stuff live at. Now, this is where we're going to be around the Nine Tails attack. Now, this is where Minato is pretty much about to do the Reaper Death Serial and pretty much trying to seal the Nine Tails Jinchuriki in Naruto. This is where I have my ship. And no, it's not going to be an alien ship. It's going to be a cool-ass pirate ship. Why do I say that? Because, come on, we got to have the story going crazy. And pretty much I'm sailing. And this is where I arrive to the planet Earth with pretty fast speed. Now, this is where I see the Nine Tails Jinchuriki about to get sealed. But this is where I pretty much say fall. And make the Nine Tails Jinchuriki fall with gravity. This is where Minato is confused and trying to figure out who the hell does have the Nine Tails Jinchuriki coded down. And this is where I smile and say, to all the people here in the Leaf Village, I, Kishan Uchiha, the god, the Galaxy God, is here. Which I make a grin. This is where Minato is already out of chakra and everybody pretty much out of it. Don't know, hearing a Uchiha name at the end saying, oh, Uchiha. What? Galaxy God. This is where I pretty much comes down to Minato and smile at him and says, hello, Minato. Nice to meet you. Which Minato is pretty much tired out saying, "Who are you?" And he pretty much looks at his wife, which his wife is slowly dying. And he's pretty much looking at me and he's saying, "What do you want?" Which I pretty much smile and says, "Well, I'm just here to talk, but also here to talk to the Uchihas as well. But first, we gotta save your wife and your son." Which pretty much, this is where I split the Chinchuriki, the Naito Chinchuriki in half, and give Kushina the bad side and Naruto the good side. And I pretty much sit down and pretty much wait for Minato to pretty much get his breath. Now this is where he runs to his wife Kushina and picks up Naruto and pretty much is there holding them both together, which Kushina is pretty much smiling and pretty much happy that she's alive to see her son. Now this is where I walk up to them a little bit more and pretty much sit down with them and pretty much have a talk with them. Which Minato says, "Who am I? Where did I come from? And why did I help them?" This is where I answer all his questions and I begin to say, "Well, Minato, I'm just here to talk to the Uchihas. And then I will talk to you later about why did I save your life. But right now, I'm just gonna go to the Uchihas." Which this is where a bunch of Abu ninjas come around me, right now holding me, surrounding me and saying to freeze and I'm under arrest. Which pretty much I look at them and I say, "Die." Which they all fall on the ground. Instantly fall on the ground. This is where Hiruzen is shocked, including Donzo, and I look at both of them saying, "Do y'all want to die too? Then step aside." Which Hiruzen doesn't attack and lets me walk, including Donzo. Now, as I'm walking, this is where I reach. Yeah, okay. Alright, sorry that I paused the video, guys. Had to go eat, but let's get started. Pretty much, I walk past Hiruzen and Donzo and head to the Uchiha compound. This is where Fugaku is waiting for me. Well, pretty much, I yell out, "Fugaku, come out." And this is where Fugaku comes and says, "Hello, who might you be?" Well, he knows who I am. And be like, "What do you want?" Which I pretty much look at Fugaku, and tell him, "Let's go inside, and I shall talk to him." Which, I go inside, and Fugaku follows me, and also Itachi, and pretty much his wife. This is where the other Uchihas are outside, and two other Uchihas is right beside Fugaku, and pretty much he asks, "What do I want from him?" This is where I smile and say that they would be my personally soldiers. Which Fugaku say, "What do you mean by that?" Which I pretty much smile at him and be like, telling him that he will be in charge from now on. You will become the next Hokage after Minato retired. Which pretty much Fugaku said, "How is that going to be possible?" Which I pretty much smile at him and says that when Naruto grows up, Minato will have 2 more years to be Hokage, and you will take over. Which I will guarantee you to become the next Hokage. Which this is where Fugaku will look at me and question if this is true or not, which I pretty much smiles at him and say, "I will guarantee him the guarantee of becoming Hokage. And plus, the people will want you Hokage once I guarantee them fortune and riches." Which Fugaku, wide-eyed, but pretty much believes the words I'm saying. This is where he asks me what he will want me to do. What he like them to do, which I pretty much smile at him and say to keep an eye on Minato, Fugaku, and Donzo. Which Fugaku can agree to those terms, and I tell him one more thing. And also, I would like to have your son, Sasuke, when he be born. Which Fugaku is confused and saying, "Sasuke?" Which he pretty much looks at the baby in the stomach, and he pretty much say, "My son." Which I say, "Yes, I will want your son. When the day he grows up, and when he gets a little older, I will take him under my wing, and he will be trained by me." Which, this is pretty much Fugaku saying, "Trained by you?" Which I smile and said, "Yes." he will be trained by me, and he will have the eyes that I will give him when he has the title, have the right to have him. Which I begin to have a big grin. Well, not a creepy grin, but a grin. Which Fugaku is scared, but he agrees to these terms. Which his wife say, Fugaku, how can you let him have our son? Which pretty much Fugaku tells her to quiet. Which she looks at me and she sees me staring at her with a blankless stare. She's afraid. Which I pretty much stands up and say, I understand that you're afraid that I might do something to your son, or you have him do something worse to y'all. But I assure you, I want him to be strong because one day he will be the successor of these eyes that I have. Which pretty much Fugaku said, what eyes? Which I pretty much show him a unique eyes, saying the golden eyes, the golden Sharingan eyes, or the golden Rinnegan eyes. These eyes have unique property, and he will be the successor of these golden eyes. Which Itachi looks and says, my brother will have those eyes? Which I smile and says, yes. And you, I have bigger plans for you. But you will train in your own way, till the day come. I will come back and see you, Itachi and Shisui. Which Shisui is pretty much is there too. And I pretty much gets up. I tell my goodbyes and I say I will return in a notice. But right now, I will see ya tomorrow. I head back to my ship. Now, the next day comes, and this is where Minato meets me again, and I pretty much have an announcement, which everybody shows up, including Minato and Fukaku, and I pretty much make my announcement to everybody. Hello to villagers, Uchiha, Hyuga, and all other clans. Welcome. I am Kishan Uchiha, King Kishan, Galaxy God, and I have prostitute you with fortune, which I throw treasures and riches everywhere, which everybody's grabbing it and excited and stuff, which I pretty much explain. I know that I have shockingly came and stopped the Nine Tails, which Minato helped me with, of course. Thank you. You should thank Lord Minato, which everybody's thanking Lord Minato. But also, Fugaku was there too, to put the Chinchuriki under Genjutsu, while I hold them down. So, thanks to him too, the Uchiha, which, yeah, I need to really stop looking down on the Uchihas, since I'm a Uchiha myself, which everybody is agreeing upon and stuff, and also, in the hype since I gave him riches. For now on, let's all celebrate for this celebration day for Minato, Fugaku, who will next become Hokage, which everybody is excited and saying, Fugaku, Fugaku, which Minato is questioning, but also feel that something's odd. But he also just doesn't say anything. Kushina is also there too to look, and also all the Uchihas is cheering on too. Which I say, let's celebrate this day. Let's cheer on. Let's hooray for this day. And I will be the prosperous God to watch over and keep this land safe from attacks of the villages. Which everybody is cheering me on, and also regular villagers, and also other ninjas and stuff. And I pretty much stand down and start walking away. Now, this is where I head back to Planet Uchiha and pretty much meet with my wife, Madara, and pretty much she says, welcome home, honey. Which I pretty much smile and says, I'm glad to be home. Now, this is where I pretty much head to my bedroom, and start to get undressed. Now, this is where female Madara comes right behind me, and yes, this is going to be an 18 plus part. If you don't want to hear this, because I'm about to get down to detail, please get the F out the kitchen, or should I say, get the fuck out the kitchen, because shit's about to get spicy in here, and what I'm about to say here is going to stay in this video for the lifetime. But let's continue. Now, this is where I pretty much is about to lay down until female monitor comes right behind me and you could say, put her breasts on my back. Now, I pretty much look right behind me and say, what do you think you're doing? Which she pretty much says that she wants to please her king or her husband. Which I pretty much look at her and make a grin, saying, well, I guess we should make a child too. I want him to be on Earth so he can pretty much experience life as well. And I pretty much hop on female monitor. Now, this is where I'm kissing her down the neck, going down to the breast, sucking on the breast, making her moan, getting her wet. And now go down and start eating her out. Now I know what you're thinking. Keyshawn, this is a little bit too spicy. Are you going to stop? No, I'm going to continue. As I'm eating her out, this is where I make her squirt, legendary Squirt Master 120. That's who I am. Now I pretty much stop eating her out. Now this is where I pull down my long pants, or you could say pull down my pants and give her that nice inch, and I start plowing that vagina, you could say. Now this is where I'm going in and out, and I pretty much done that in the sauce. Now after that, she pretty much is laying on top of my chest and pretty much asleep while I'm pretty much seeing the future and seeing all the events. And I smile and saying, well, this is going to be an interesting universe. And we pretty much do a little bit of a time skip. Now, this is where we have, let's see, a 6-year-old Naruto. Well, pretty much the Naruto. We start with Naruto first. Naruto, since he has his mom and dad, pretty much Naruto is much cheerful, happy, and pretty much has friends. Since Naruto is the son of the Hokage. Sorry about that, guys. My nana had to call me to bring her phone downstairs. But let's continue the story. Pretty much, Naruto is much different now. He's gonna have different hair, kind of have his father hair, but a little bit longer tips. And he's gonna have, Minato's hair, but a little bit longer tips. And, Now, for pretty much, for Sasuke, Now, let's go to Sakura. Now, what's gonna happen? Well, actually, we're gonna say Sakura last, but let's go to Sasuke. Now, this is where Sasuke is gonna be a little bit different. As let me just start with me. Pretty much my son, which I can pick the name from, but pretty much I take my son and we head to Earth. And I pretty much talk to him and saying, well, you're gonna be with these humans. Which pretty much he say, why should I be with these humans? Which he pretty much looks down and I pretty much say, come on, son. I know you don't like being in the palace and just learning all that boring stuff and history. I know you want to learn about the earth and these humans and stuff. I saw you writing in your book. Which he pretty much said, you read my book? Which I pretty much says, of course, son. What, you thought I didn't know that you wanted to see the humans and stuff and go to their school and learn more about them and their fascination nation and their chakra and stuff? Which you also want to learn about their chakra natures, which we have different ones. Which he pretty much say, you know you're not supposed to read my privacy, right? Which I pretty much say, I know. I kind of accidentally read your mind. But let's continue. This is where I pretty much land my ship. And the Uchihas are pretty much saying we have landed, which I pretty much say good. And I hop off the ship with my son. This is where my son is pretty much walking to the Leaf Village. And he pretty much looks around and stuff saying, wow, this is actually quite weird. Which I look at my son and saying, yeah, that village is looking a little bit low, but, they're humans. They will evolve soon and shortly. Maybe a couple years, maybe more. Which my son say, really that long? Which I say, yeah, we evolve a little higher. But, let's go. I want to show you the Lord Hokage here. And also show you around and where you're going to be going to academy and stuff. Which he pretty much smiles and says, okay. Now this is where, pretty much, as I'm walking my son, holding his hand, this is where I see Minato and I say, Minato, hey. Which he pretty much looks at me and says, Keyshawn, Keyshawn Uchiha. Which I pretty much smile at him, and he smiles at me back. Now, this is where Naruto looks at the kid, and he pretty much is interested in that kid, in my son, which Naruto pretty much runs up to him and asks what is his name, which pretty much my son's name is going to be named Excalibur. Excalibur. If y'all want to change his name, please put down a unique name y'all want me to change in the comments, but he's going to be named Excalibur Uchiha. Pretty much my son's name. My son pretty much says his name is Excalibur Uchiha, which Naruto says that's a weird name, sounds like a sword, which pretty much my son gets all blushing and saying, of course, because I'm a legendary weapon, which pretty much Naruto laughs a little bit, but they go start playing with each other and get to know each other better. This is where I talk to Minato. I pretty much explains to Minato that my son is going to be staying here, and I'm pretty much going to be staying here too, but I will be going back so forth to my planet and pretty much staying here in the village with my son. And my wife is going to be here too, which pretty much Minato says, oh, okay, well, we have plenty of houses, which I tell him that I already have a house somewhere, so if you need anything, just come to this certain location. Which Minato looks at it and says, huh, okay. Which I pretty much says, yeah. Now, this is where I say I have other plans, and I start heading to Sakura house. Now, this is where a young girl, Sakura, is in her room, which she gets a knock on the door. Now, this is where she's about to run to see who is it, until her parents open the door first and sees me. Which they be like, Kishan Uchiha. I mean, King Uchiha. What brings you here? Which I pretty much walk forward and say, I'm here to get someone. Which they say, who? Which I point at Sakura saying, Sakura Haruno. I want her. Which they say, what do you mean? Which I pretty much smile at them and say, well, I want her to be a powerful ninja. A powerful ninja to help, to protect my son, and also to protect Naruto and Sasuke for the near future, and not be useless to this world. Which they're pretty much saying, how dare you talk to our daughter like that? Which I look at them and say, y'all want to see the future of what she can possibly become? Which I poke at both of their head, which they pretty much see the future of Sakura being absolutely useless half of the time, and fucking seeing the whole misery of what the fuck she done, including that embarrassing time back to Naruto, saying that she loved Naruto, which Naruto knows that bullshit, and up to the future of what she can be. And I showed them a possible future of her becoming stronger, and hell, even becoming a Hokage at some point. Which they drop down on their knees and saying, what did you just show us? Which I pretty much saw and says, yeah. I showed y'all two different possible futures of what she can, what she will be, and what she could have been. Which they pretty much stand up and saying, okay. Which his wife, Sakura's mom, looks at the husband saying, how could you say okay? Which I pretty much look at the mom and saying, I can promise you this. No, nothing will be harmed with your daughter. Nothing at all. If even one thing happens to your daughter, I will take personal responsibility for her. Which pretty much the mom agrees. And they pretty much allow me to take Sakura. Now this is where I walk up to Sakura and take a knee and say, hello Sakura, will you like to become stronger? Will you like to get the person you like and love? Which pretty much she says, Sasuke? Which I pretty much smile and says, yeah. Will you one day like to be with each other forever? Which she pretty much nodded saying, well, come with me, and I can give you the power to be strong, to have that dream. Which she pretty much bees excitement, and I hold her hand, well, pretty much picks her up and carry her on my back. And I pretty much say, well, I'll be training your daughter. Don't worry, I will let you see her time to time, but she'll be trained by me, personally. And I pretty much take Sakura. Now, this is where I go to the Uchiha compound, and I pretty much talk to Fukaku and tell him that I will be I will be coming back to pretty much train Sasuke personally, but I will be training her first. Which I pretty much take Sasuke and Sakura and pretty much take them to the house that I have. This is where my wife, um, Madara, pretty much is there and saying, "Who is these two?" Which I pretty much tell them that this is Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno, and I will be training these two for these couple of years. Which she says, which she smiles and says hi to them, which they pretty much say hi back. And let's do a little bit time skip. Now, let's start with Sasuke. Now, this is where Sasuke is in the Uchiha compound. A little bit older, and he's much happier. Not as emo or edgy. Well, a little bit edgy, but not too edgy. And the Uchiha clan is still alive. It's kind of like that timeline, you could say, but this is where Sasuke is stronger than usual in canon, and pretty much gets recognized by his father, and pretty much happier. So, yeah, that's pretty much him. But I'll put more details in him later. But let's switch to Sakura. This is where I'm pretty much talking to Sakura, and she's pretty much taking a knee. Pretty much, well, you could say not taking a knee, but pretty much crisscross applesauce on the floor. And I pretty much explains to her that her training is nearly almost complete. And she pretty much saying, "So, what else can I do with time?" Which I pretty much look at her as saying, "Listen, I gave you those time eyes for a special reason. I gave you this power of time because I want you to become the unique time goddess of what you can possibly do with them. You can skip time, erase time. Hell, time is your being. So use your imagination what you can do with that time." Which this is where I begins to start walking away. And I pretty much throw a knife at her, which she pretty much instantly stopped time. Which I pretty much smile and says, "Impressive. You stopped it just an inch in your eye." Which she pretty much picks up the knife and throw it back at me. Which I pretty much grabs it, dodges it, and grabs it, and pretty much put it by my side and saying, "Look like you improved your time. You know how to resume time much quicker." Which she pretty much smiles and says, "It's all thanks to you, King Kingshan." Which I pretty much smile and says, "Of course, Sakura. But just you know, you also have healing power too, since I gave you that healing time to reverse any wound. So don't be useless, and be stronger." Which I poke her in the forehead, and she pretty much smiles. And I pretty much tell her class is dismissed, and she starts running out and heading back to her home. This is where, of course, I head to the Uchiha compound. Well, yeah, the Uchiha compound. I pretty much walks to Sasuke and saying, "Yo, Sasuke." Which Sasuke says, "Master, you're back." Which I pretty much smiles and says, "Yeah." This is where Sasuke starts to talk to me. And I pretty much telling Sasuke that I pretty much, it's time for him to accept the eyes that I'm about to give him. This is where Sasuke pretty much gets ready for it. I pretty much tell him to close his eyes, and I tap both his eyes lightly. And he pretty much reopened up his eyes. This is where he feels the power of the golden Sharingans, and he begins to feel the immense power and chakra roaring around him. This is where he feels getting more stronger, saying, "Wow, this power." Which I pretty much smile at him and saying, "Yeah, Sasuke, consider it as your training is nearly complete. Now, we will start a little bit more training later on, but test those eyes out for a bit. Try to awaken your one Tomoe by training on your own. And maybe your brother can train you too. But I'll be going now." This is where I start going, and I head back to my house. This is where I see my son Excalibur, and he pretty much runs up to me saying, "Dad." Which I pretty much look at him and says, "Ah, there you are, son. What you need?" Which he pretty much say, "I figure out a new style." Which I pretty much say, "Oh, what style is it?" "Well, this is a fighting style, and And he pretty much is doing a little tiny blush. And he says, "This is the Golden Dragon style." Which I pretty much say, "The Golden Dragon style?" Ooh. Which, this is where I say, so he already knows my technique, the dragon style, the dragon style technique. And he pretty much asked me, "Can we spar?" Which I pretty much says, "Yes, of course." Now, this is where my son gets into the dragon stance. And of course, I get in my dragon stance to say, "Shall we fight then?" Which, this is where he charges at me and goes with multiple styles, mixing styles up and stuff, and going with a slide kick. But of course, I fought back, but catches myself and jump back and say, "Alright, my turn." Which, this is where I use my style, and he's pretty much blocking some of them, but at liberty, he gets hit by one of them. Eventually, he gets hit by one of them. He gets sent flying back, but he picks himself up, and I pretty much say, "Look like you're good at that style, but it needs improvement." Which he pretty much says, "What do you mean?" And I pretty much tell him that the style is just not one move. It's multiple moves, and you can also combine them as combos. Which he pretty much say, "Oh, like a video game?" Which I smile and says, "Yeah, like a video game." Which, this is where my son says, "I keep that in mind." And he starts going outside to say he's gonna go see Naruto. And go see Naruto and start to go hang out with Sasuke, Naruto, and Sakura today. Which I say, go have fun. This is where I go into my chambers or my secret lair. And I pretty much go talk to Orochimaru, saying, "Orochimaru, do you have it's ready?" Which Orochimaru smiles and says, "Of course, Kishan Uchiha, I have the body ready." Which I say, "With this body, Orochimaru, you can become the ultimate Uchiha. And I want you to be this vessel for me when the time comes." Which he pretty much smiles and he says, "Of course, King Kishan." Now, this is part one of What If. Nah, I'm joking. This is not part one of What If, but this is part one of Planet Uchiha. If you like, hit that comment, do all that stuff. Let's just get this up to like a nice good 50 likes, and I'll do another part two. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out. And also, please, guys, do not go in the comments and say, "Wow, that spicy part was spicy." All right, I promise you, I won't get mad, but I will, in laughter. But I'm Keyshawn Chia. Thanks for watching, and peace out.
It looks like you lost another one.